Hello friends, Robert Imbriale here, and I told you I would be back, and I did not expect it to take quite this long for me to get back and come back here and do another update. But you know, a lot of things have been going on. As you know, I'm not sharing anything that you're not aware of. There's a lot of stuff going on in society right now. And what's been interesting for me is I have a lot of customers who I've coached in the past who are now coming back. I have clients who are coming back, current clients, and coming around and saying, okay, what do we do? How do we deal? Right? That's been sort of the overwhelming question. I've been talking about that here on this podcast for some time now. And the question has not gone away. I want to share a little theory with you that I have, and it's served me well in most of my life. And it's a theory that I call the pendulum theory. Now, pendulum, you know how pendulum works, right? It goes from one end and then it stops. It goes all the way to high and then stops. It goes back the other way. It goes the other way. And on that high side, when it hits that high side, it's often what I like to call an inflection point, right? In other words, we're going in this direction, and stops. There's an inflection point, and then it comes back and goes in the other direction, right? So I think we're really either right at or very close to an inflection point right now in our society. And I think what we're seeing is sort of the bubbling up of that. Now, obviously, when you get to the top of that swing, there's often, and I really don't know many times when there isn't, there's often an event that causes that pendulum to go back in the other direction. A lot of people call it the tipping point. Right now, if you look in society, there's a lot of anger, and rightly so. There's the censorship is frightening. I don't know, if you think it is or you think it isn't, or maybe you think, they're just censoring those guys. I don't care about those guys. The truth of the matter is they can censor anybody at any time for any reason. And right now you may be in agreement with who they're censoring, but at some point that's probably going to get turned on you and you're not going to be too happy about it. So we have to be aware of that. We have to be careful of that. And what's happening is instead of lowering the temperature in society, that censoring is actually raising the temperature. Now, I don't know what you believe about the elections. I don't know what you believe about how many people voted, but my theory is that they have counted 74 million votes for Trump, and that was after all the shenanigans, and you don't believe there were shenanigans. There were. The evidence is pretty clear on that. And so you look at that and you say 74 million is probably, it's probably 80. It could be even higher than that. Who knows what the real number is? We may never know. We're probably never going to know what the real number is. That's a significant portion of society that you're censoring, that you're saying, we don't agree with your viewpoint. We don't agree with your opinions. We don't agree with your values, your rules, your beliefs. So instead of having conversation, instead of having negotiation, instead of having debate, instead of even arguing about it, we're just going to wholesale cut you off. I've seen a lot of my friends lose their accounts over the past few weeks. And it's disheartening because I know how much money and time they've spent into building up their followings. And all of a sudden, they wake up in the morning and they no longer have access to their account. What happened? Well, you posted something there that, the company didn't agree with. It wasn't illegal, wasn't violent, wasn't racist, it wasn't any of the, porn, it wasn't drugs, it wasn't crime, it wasn't any of the normal things that would get censored. It was just, we don't agree with your opinion. Scary, very scary. Because where does it end? It starts there, and then where does it end? So what's happening in our society is we're getting that boiling point is coming up, and you could feel the anger. You could feel the angst. I've been out and about here, and I went to some stores today, and you can feel people are unsettled. How do I know? Look at the grocery stores. You're starting to see holes in the shelves again, right? We went through this back in March. Starting to happen again. Starting to see people who are unsettled. I have friends who have said they're not staying at their home is too close to the city, they're leaving. They're heading for the country, doing something different. That's scary. You have the FBI coming out and saying, they're expecting riots on the 20th on Inauguration Day. What? It's like, what would cause that? Well, what would cause that is everything that's leading up to it, all the anger. And it's not helping when you have, these tech companies and such that want to shut you down. They don't want you to be able to be heard. So they take you offline. They deplatform you. When has this ever happened in this country before? When? I don't agree with somebody. You know what? I still love them. I still appreciate them. I don't agree with them. I'll change the topic. I'll go talk to somebody else. Their post comes by on Facebook. I'll just scroll by it. Not the end of the world. I'm not going to change my mind. My mind is made up. I know what I believe, and what I believe is what I believe. And, unless you bring me tremendous facts to the contrary, I'm probably not going to change my beliefs. And certainly a post on Facebook is not going to make me change what I believe, nor is it going to change what you believe. So this idea that you can just come along and delete these things is scary. It's scary business. And we are moving very rapidly toward that inflection point, which I think that inflection point is going to be pretty severe. I think it's going to be an event, a large event, that when we get through it, we're going to start moving in another direction, hopefully calmer, peacefuler, more peaceful, and I'm making up words here. So more peaceful, and when we get on the other side, I think things are going to be a lot better, but we've got to get there, right? We've got to find out. And it's kind of like, if you think about it, like the little kid, the 5-year-old, right? The 5-year-old is going to try and get away with as much as they can get away with. And they're just going to keep pushing their parents and pushing their parents and pushing their parents until what? Until the parent stops and says, no more, stop, right? That hasn't happened yet. So the pushing is pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing right now. And they're seeing how far they can go before there is significant pushback. And that's where it's going to end up. It's going to end up with the pushback, and the pushback's probably not going to be pretty, but there's going to be some pushback. And then when we have that, then things will start to shift. So that's what I'm thinking about right now. I'm thinking about all of that. I see how unsettled people are. I see how they're not focused on business. I can see how so many are distracted by what's going on. They're glued to their media sources, whatever that is, and they're looking at what is going to happen, where is it going to go. We've got the virus that we're dealing with. We've got election stuff. We've got, civil disobedience. We've got, potential riots. We've got all this stuff happening. It's a lot to handle on top of the everyday stuff that we need to handle in our businesses, right? So I want to just leave you with a couple of thoughts for today. Number one, it is okay right now if you're distracted. Everybody is. It's hard not to be. It's hard not to be, taken from all this stuff. There are very few people that I know, although there are a few, who have tuned it all out and are just going about their day and doing what they need to do, and they're okay. But I think for the most part, there's a lot of people that aren't, and I think a lot of people are distracted. So number one, don't beat yourself up over it. It is a very historic time. Things going on today we have never seen in our lifetime, and it's important to pay attention to it because it impacts every single one of us. From the very old to the very young, every one of us is impacted here. So it's not like something you could just brush under the rug, hey, no big deal. It is also beyond the borders of our country. It is international. Right? Other countries are dealing with it as well. From the virus to, everyone's watching what's going to happen in this country with our elections and the new powers that be, who's the next one up and what they're going to do and what decisions they're going to make. We have a huge impact in the rest of the world. So the rest of the world is hanging on edge too. So everybody's on edge. And if you look at it from that perspective, something's got to give because we're not going to stay on edge forever, right? When you've got this kind of pressure coming at us from all different angles, people start snapping. Now, I don't encourage that, clearly, but it is what happens, right? What happens to the 5-year-old when he says no? Does he just turn around and go, okay, mom and dad said no, so I'll just go back to my room and do something else? Or do they set off a temper tantrum, right? They start screaming and yelling and crying and carrying on and the drama, right? So that's the more human reaction, I think, if you look at it from that perspective, and I think we're going to start to see that. And I don't like seeing that. You don't like seeing that. We don't encourage that, clearly. But, it is smart to be prepared for whatever might be coming. So I have some people right now that are leaving the cities, like I said. I have some that are voluntarily shutting down their businesses for the next 2 weeks just to see, until things calm down or things settle, because they're feeling it. And you can see, if you haven't done so already, go to the grocery store, get some water, get some food, get your meds, get whatever it is that you need, because things may be disrupted. Clearly like they were in March. That snuck up on us. And you saw in March how quickly the grocery stores ran out of supplies, right? They just couldn't get them in, or what was there was wiped out in a matter of hours in some cases, especially things like bottled water. They just don't carry enough of it. I mean, I go into a grocery store and I can count 50, 100 bottles that they've got there. I'm like, well, a place as big as San Diego, how long is that going to last? 10 minutes, it'll be gone. It'll be all sold out. Even if they rationed it, so 20 minutes it'll last. So I want you to be thinking about that ahead of time. Now, look, even if you don't need it, even if nothing comes of this and you don't need it, having it is more important than not. Because when the time comes and you need it, you don't have it, you're in trouble. Having it, not needing it, that's fine. You can use it another time. It's not like the stuff goes bad. Buy non-perishable stuff and keep it, because we don't know what's going to happen. I'm getting all different stories. I've been digging into this, and I've been hearing all different things, and who knows what's real? Who knows anymore what the truth is? Who knows anymore what is the real story? What is the hoax? What is, the media narrative, if you will, that you're being sold? And I don't know. I don't know. I'm not in a position to know, but I do know that you can feel it. You can feel the energy. You can feel the energy out there, people being unsettled. Then you can feel the anger. You can feel the frustration building, right? Those are things that are tangible. Those things I know. Those things are not a question to me. I know. So prepare yourself, right? Do whatever you need to do to protect yourself, protect your family. Make sure you have the supplies you need in case things go a little bit haywire, and be ready for what's coming next. What's coming next is going to be really good, because that pendulum is going to be swinging in a new direction. And that'll last for, a generation or so. It doesn't happen very often. I think the last time we had uprisings like this was back in the 60s, right? So it's been a long time. It's been like 50 years, 60 years now that we haven't had, these kind of challenges. But here we are. We're at that other end again. So things are going to change. Things are going to shift. It's not going to be the same as it was. That people keep thinking about, hey, let's go back to normal. Normal hasn't been here for a year. We don't even know what normal feels like anymore, because we're so used to, what we're experiencing these days. So if I can leave you with any piece of advice, it's simply this: stay strong. Whatever you're going to do, just stay strong. Keep your head up. Keep looking for the news. Keep your eye on the pulse of what's going on, and be ready when you need to be, so that you're not scrambling at the last minute trying to get things together. And do the best you can right now to stay focused on building your business. Although the economy is not very strong, there's not a whole lot going on as far as people buying stuff. I've got a lot of customers who deal in the retail industry, and the sales just are very weak right now. That's not going to last. So you want to be ready for when it does start turning around, and you want to be prepared for it. Now is the time to be working on that kind of thing. If you're thinking about changing direction, if you're thinking about creating a new course or creating a new product, now is a good time to be thinking of those things and planning for those things. I don't know what the timing is going to be to get it out, but you got to be ready, right? So stay strong, my friends. It will get better at some point, but be ready for whatever happens in case it doesn't get better right away. You can at least say, you know what, I was prepared. Thanks for watching. We'll talk real soon. I'll try to get another video done in the next couple of days. I don't want to let it go a week before I touch base with you. Thanks again for watching. Talk soon.